Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
You can catch me at the hot spot.
It's the BR18.
All right, y'all, Rickey Smiley Morning Show 29 before the top of the hour, y'all. It is time for the hot spot. Sitting in for the one and only DeBrat. We got comedian extraordinaire. Yes, sir. Rita Brent, y'all. Good morning. Rita.
Good morning, y'all.
Happy to have
What's
you.
up? Yeah. Oh, thank you. And I just want to shout out my grandmother. Today is her birthday. I would not be here without her. So shout out to her.
Happy birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. But speaking of my grandmother, like, she raised me right. And when I was looking at this Shedeur Sanders controversy all over the news this weekend, following on social media, and of course I'm personally invested because he played at my alma mater, Jackson State. So a win for Shedeur is a win for HBCUs too, you know. But like, I noticed a lot of the conversation had nothing to do with his skill set. Rickey, I don't know if you just saw, it was just personal attacks left to right about a young man that they don't know. And I'm looking and I got triggered and I wrote a little something on Facebook. I'm not going to read all of it, but I'll just read a little bit of it. And I said that one thing I know for sure, when people have their minds made up about you, they won't even attempt to discover your true character. And I know all of y'all can relate to that.
Yes, sir.
Who you are is who they believe you are, and that's it. And you can chalk it up to hearsay, social media, personal biases. And additionally, it did turn into a racial conversation. And I was reminded that no matter what type of black you are, to some folks, you are just black. If you're humble, you're weak. If you're confident, you're arrogant. If you're outspoken, you're a troublemaker. And this just does not only come from black folks. Skin folks can be just as vicious with their who do you think you are mindset.
Come on,
and
Rita.
that's based on envy, jealousy, bitterness, self-hatred, classism, all of that stuff. But the simple truth is that black folks who are wealthy, powerful, confident, successful, influential, unbothered, defiant, offend some people's bottom line because they want your blessings to have a cap. They want your elevation and impact to be temporary so they can feel better about their own shortcomings and limitations. So that's just a little bit of what I had to say.
Man, go on, read some more. Come on, read it.
Preaching. Let's
not
go.
a cap, though.
Yeah, they wanted to have a cap. And you know, with all of the commentating and the podcasting and the haters, it ain't nothing you can do about it. One of my favorite scriptures is, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. So, you know, anybody who can resonate with that, every aspect of your life is divinely purposed. And I know it's popular for podcasters and commentators to just say whatever they want to say, but I disagree with that. Because I tell people all the time, they like, Rita, don't get the big head, don't lack humility. But I say my head ain't big, but my belief in God's promises is. You know what I mean?
Now.
Let's go.
Yeah, so it just triggered me. It just triggered me a little bit because you see all these people talking about this boy's personality and they don't even know him. You know what I'm saying? He can't help who his father is. Same thing with Bronny James. Now you look at him and Rock, you correct me if I'm wrong, but he's a calm kid. You know, he's relaxed, he's focused.
Absolutely.
And they're on social media talking about him. You know what I mean? And it's like they can't control who their fathers are. These are young men. They are promising, they are talented, and they deserve the right to mess up and grow and create their own path just like we have. You know what I mean?
But why can't you be cocky? Why can't you be confident?
That's all it is, man. You know, sometimes confidence scare people. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're a
with
black man.
Yeah, right, T. With their insecurities.
Come on, now.
they not confident. They not cocky, and they feel, and a lot of people feel like you should operate at the level where their mindset is. But if you had a dad or a granddad or a middle school principal that built you up mentally, physically, and emotionally, and some people just feel like, who does he think he is? Because when I walk through the airport or when I go to that hotel counter and give them my ID and I have my chin up and I speak up, I articulate. I let even my girls, they 6 years old, twins. And when the lady at Dairy Queen asked them what would they like to eat, I look directly at them and I make them speak back and answer the question. They understand what she's saying and speak up. Hold your chin up. And may I have this? Number one, please. Chicken tender, please. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? Take the card, swipe, like all of that stuff. And I just appreciate Dion. He's a friend. He's a mentor and or whatever. And I just like the fact that they just breaking ground. And he's going to make something happen, Rita. He's going to do good.
Yes, and I wanted to button up this conversation, if we could, Ricky, on the other side, just talking about that fatherly part and how hard it is for a youngster to walk in his dad's footsteps. So we're going to continue the conversation, but for more information on this story, go to RickySmileyMorningShow.com, and you can catch me on social media at Rita Brent Comedy. That's at RITABRENT Comedy, and we'll have a little more on Shedeur Sanders on the other side. This is Ricky Smiley Morning Show.
10 before the top of the hour, yeah, we all been talking about the Shedeur Sanders and the NFL draft this morning, and we saw Rita's post about it on Facebook, and it just riled me up, and we just had to talk about it. Rita, what inspired you to, to write that commentary? You really should have sent that to USA Today or something.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like Dion and Shedeur and Shiloh, they were all at Jackson State for a few years, and it was a beauty to see, And another thing that I wrote in my post was that I will always root for fathers who are present, caring, and involved in their kids' well-being. Mm-hmm. And I know you can speak to this, like what is the alternative? What do folks want Deion Sanders and LeBron James to do? Like not vouch for their kids? If we look at the political administration, all kind of politicians have their children who are unqualified to be in positions, but this is not that. These young men are qualified, but they're in their father's shadow. And so nobody's even thinking about that maybe they have to exaggerate their confidence because maybe they do feel self-doubt at times about, well, can I follow my dad's shadow? So like, what is the alternative? Do you want them to be overly humble to the point that they fail? But I mean, Ricky, you can speak to that. This just idea about black fathers being involved and how it almost makes some people uncomfortable. You got a problem when they're absent, but then when they're too involved, you got an issue with that. So make up your mind.
Yeah. And it goes back to that confidence equals arrogance. And sometimes you can just be confident, walking in and doing what you were taught and trained to do. You know what I'm saying? My grandfather was in the military, and I have all uncles. My mama had 4 brothers, and my dad had 3 brothers. So, and plus a granddad. So I was raised around mostly men and stuff like that. So they teach you that stuff. And then when you become successful, even before I became a stand-up comedian, I was a musician. I was educated. I worked in a shoe store. And I was always confident and know how to articulate and speak up and talk to people and express myself. And man, when you see the side eye that I get going about my day and walk with my chest out and my chin up with some confidence or whatever, it just rub a lot of people the wrong way. It's this whole, even when you go to court, you sit there, you have on a shirt and a tie, and you sitting there with your attorneys. It rubs some judges. Who does he think he is? Nobody's special in this court. Like they start throwing that. I had pastors to do it. Can't stand the fact that you in the congregation with this big career going on and just your whole vibe and your energy and your existence and your presence. It upset them, and I just don't understand it. But I do want to ask you, did he really deserve to get picked sooner? As far as the stats, and do you think it's about race, Rita, in your opinion?
Yes, I think it's about race to an extent. I think it's about humbling him and making an example out of him. Like, we gonna show you. It also made me question what kind of respect they really do have for Dion, because a lot of people brought up the Mannings and how they kind of had the same attitude when his sons were being drafted, but they didn't get the same kind of criticism. But Rock T, maybe you can help me understand, because I've talked to my guy friends who follow the NFL, and they said that his skill set met the moment, and that some of the QBs that were drafted before him, that he should have gotten drafted above them. Yeah, so that's what I was more interested in, the skill set conversation.
Skill wise, man, Cam Ward was probably the number 1 quarterback in the country. Shedeur Sanders was ranked number 2. And then you got Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss was number 3. Those are the top 3 quarterbacks all season long, according to the experts. According to all the experts and everybody out there that reports college football, those were the top 3 quarterbacks. So, yes, he definitely should have been picked in the first round, actually. But here's the deal. You know what I'm saying? Back to the confidence situation. It's about how you are confident. It's about how you deliver it. Some people are confident, quietly confident. Some people are very flamboyant with a lot of flair and confidence, and that's the one that gets confused with being cocky and arrogant or whatever. But if you want to succeed in life, in anything that you do, you got to be self-confident. Yeah. And if you're not, you're gonna lose. Period.
But okay,
Yeah.
for somebody who doesn't know football, let me ask you, because I was fighting
Alfredo,
with
hold that thought. We at the 53. We're gonna bring it on the other side. We don't have to do the little top of the hour comedy piece. I want you to ask that question on the other side. More Rickey Smiley Morning Show coming up. All right, y'all, this is the top of the hour, y'all. It's the Rickey Smiley Morning Show. We've been talking a lot about the Shedeur Sanders and the NFL draft this morning. And right before we went to commercial, Alfredo was about to make a point, ask a question about a popular commentary that comedian extraordinaire Rita Brent wrote. What were you about to say, Alfredo?
Well, I don't know football. So I was having this conversation with some of my white friends, and it got heated because I was like, for me, it's racial. And they were like, no. See, he played in a lower league, and that's why. And so I don't know sports. So if he played in a lower league, so that's why he didn't go in the first or second or third round. So I couldn't make them understand this because, for some white people, nothing's racial, when to me, everything is racial.
Yeah.
So I was like, I see it as racial. And they're like, no. His league, he was in a lower league. That's why.
He was in the Big 12, man. So, in college football, if you kind of rank the leagues, the SEC is the number one league as far as competition from top to bottom. But then you got the Big 12, you got the Big 10, you got the ACC. Cam Ward, the number one overall pick in the NFL draft, was in the ACC. He wasn't in the SEC. Does that make sense? So there's great players in all
and then
leagues.
Travis Hunter came from Colorado.
Absolutely.
He's the second pick.
He's the number 2 pick.
Right.
Wow.
So he got picked before, the SEC in the Big Ten. So I don't think that had anything to do with it.
So the stats support Shedeur Sanders.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it was personal. And Rickey, I'm gonna tell you when I felt like I knew it was personal when I saw that young man make the prank call. Jax Ulbrich, however you say his name, the son of the Falcons coach Jeff Ulbrich. That's personal. Nobody else has ever had to deal with that. That is saying to me that we don't think you deserve any more blessings. That you are just because you're flashy, you have all the blessings you need, and we want to humiliate you in this moment. That right there was the icing on the cake for me that made me feel like all of this was personal.
Yeah.
That is, man. Hey, Rita, let everybody know how they can follow you and more your commentary on this Shedeur Sanders situation.
All right, you can follow me at Rita Brent Comedy. That's RITABRENT Comedy. I'm always going to have some commentary, and we can have discourse on my page. And Rickey, I appreciate you sharing this. It says Rita Brent Comedy on all social media. And we're going to have more right here on the Rickey Smiley Morning Show.